All right, we're out here at La Mirada Disc Golf Course. We're on the Lakeside. I was going to just play a scoring round, but there's a lot of people-ish out here today, so we're going to do a combination scoring round and getting some throws in. We'll see what happens, but we're on hole one. It's about 265 feet and throwing a Get Freaky zone. Up to about 12 feet, we take that. Relatively self-conscious about filming out here in this situation, but there aren't really that many people close to me to hear it. Just carrying around this whole setup is a little weird. First putt of the day generally doesn't matter because my putting sucks most of the time anyway, but let's get this birdie. Nailed it. We take birdies on the easiest hole on the course and hope that continues. Hole two is about 355 feet. We got a double Mando situation, so little early tester hitting a gap, throwing my 2022 Jeremy Colling Thunderbird. And we'll wait for this lady to pass by on the sidewalk so we don't hit her, because odds of a bad throw here are pretty high. Trying to kind of flex it to the right of that tree on the hill and get it to come out and finish towards the basket. Once we get past the first 3 holes, the pedestrian problem kind of dissipates. Here we go. Oh, missed the Mando because we're good at that. I'm going to throw another one. We're going understable this time, so I don't have to try as hard to get it over. So I'm releasing this kind of on hyzer, hoping the disc does the work for me. Like that. It's a little high. It's the exact flight I want, just 10 feet too high. So we do have a drop zone here. A little punishing. You got to have a pretty good either backhand through the gap, or I'm going to throw my forehand out to the left of this tree right here and hope that we finish back at the basket. Halo Thunderbird. It's a little more left than I want, so that's going to be a tough bogey save. So we're about 45 feet out. Pretty good amount of pressure to save this bogey. Not really expecting to make this about, we'll say, 10% of the time. Seems probably pretty high. I'm aiming for the 2 on the basket. Here we go. Perfect line, dead center, hit the pole. A little higher. Tends to be the case when you're further away. All right, hole 3, 260 feet, kind of a little bit over this hill. You can barely see the basket up there. There's OB right behind it. It's a pretty steep drop off. So I like throwing my Berg because it just dies and doesn't go anywhere. And hopefully getting in circle 1-ish. I have thrown long with it once or twice, so trying to not overpower it too much. Pushed it out left a little bit, and it doesn't really like moving to the right, but decent spot. So we ended up a bit shorter than I wanted. A little bit just outside the circle, probably about 35 feet. Treacherous behind it. Tournament situation, I'm probably laying up, but I do want to get in the mindset of running putts, being confident in just aiming and shooting. So that's what we're going to do. Pretty high risk of going OB, but not if I make it. Aiming barely up to the right, just below the 3, a little bit to the right, looking at one specific link and trying to finish pretty soft through. Solid run, didn't do anything bad. Started a little right, dropped a little bit, but that's exactly where we want to finish on a miss. So after tapping in on 2 and 3, we're sitting at 1 over, birdie, double bogey, and par. We're now on hole 4, 400 feet, kind of up the hill. Got to get past all these trees. I'm going to be throwing a Halo Destroyer up high, trying to hit a gap out here and finish out there. If we get a little lucky, we can get mid circle 2. If I absolutely pipe it, can do some good things, but just aiming out to the right, hard flat, hoping to push through. Oh, just like that. So we pushed 2 straight, blew up part of a tree. Yeah, edge of circle 2, easy par. Like I said, hit part of that tree up there, so that stopped our fight pretty hard. Dropped down here, we're about 55, 60 feet. A little bit of a wind to adjust for. Again, I'm aiming high right since I'm a little bit further away. Trying to get this up in the air a little bit more so we can carry to the basket. And all of that was pretty weak. Way right, short, but tapping par. After that par, still sitting 1 over through 4. We're now on hole 5, 255 feet, right up this hill. Another one of the easier holes on the course. Pretty easy to pull it off to the right or miss left into the tree or the fallen limb up there. But not too bad. Probably plays about 270, 275, accounting for the hill. So we're again going with the get freaky zone, aiming a little bit right and throwing it pretty hard and straight so that it finishes to the basket. Pulled it way right, like I said, was a very good possibility, but its stability is going to keep it. We're a little long, probably about a 40-footer. Not the worst, not the best. Yeah, there's probably just barely outside the circles, maybe 35 feet. I'm gonna try to give this a little bit better of a straight run. Trying to get my footing right here, a little muddy, so probably not able to push off too much. Aiming for the heart of the basket, follow through. Pretty straight, but too low again. Common problem. Tap that in, another par, 1 over through 5. So we're on hole 6, about 260 feet. This is in a very uncommon position. Normally we are in the back corner up here, but for the last week or so, it's been pretty far left. So we're just gonna throw Sky God, hope it dies off. Oh, if I'd have thrown that higher, it would have been perfect. Got a little bit of a skip, probably. I just circle low. Turns out we got a lot of ground play, and the Sky God did some work. So a little park job, tap in birdie, gets us back to even through 6. All right, we're on hole 7. Basically impossible to get the tee sign and the tee box and the basket all in the same shot. So you're just gonna have to trust that it's 360 out this gap. Popular play to go through the gap. Very easy to miss and go OB. This path that winds through is OB. So I don't mess with that. Instead, I do a big turnover coming around. So I'm throwing my Simon Lizotte hexalotl hex and trying to get it out straight and let it just do the work, cruise over, hoping again, not trying to park this because that's pretty tough with this shot, so just trying to get to about 30 to 40 feet. Well, turned that over a lot, so that went a whole lot of nowhere. Normally I end up hitting the trees because I just yank it pretty late, and that's going to be pretty bad. So that was just a horrendously awful tee shot. We're going Toro, forehand approach, aiming a little up towards these tree branches, high left, so it just crashes down to the basket, focusing on more wrist snap than anything else. Not high enough, left enough. Oh, I got a good little lift. Park job. Another easy par after disappointing drive. All right, it's an even through hole 7, I think. We're on hole 8, 310 feet. You can barely see the basket over the crest in this hill, throwing a Sky God because I feel pretty comfortable with it. Probably not going 310 feet, but trying to get some putter work in. Oh, that was pretty good. Didn't quite get over on it. Oh, if I get a little more angle, that's going to be good. There's a little added pressure on that throw because I let somebody play through me who is here from Toronto, and he was sitting on the next tee pad watching. He was watching, so I was trying to not make a fool of myself after acting like I knew how this game gets played, and got it pinned high, so we're happy about that. The struggle with hole 8 is another significant drop off behind the basket. So you don't really want to be short because you don't want to putt at it. And where I'm at is kind of on the brink of that being a thing. I'm pin high, so it's not super crazy. But if I miss left, we're going a long ways. So you can see what I'm talking about right there. There's a lot going on down left. So I am still trying to make it so I don't have the mindset of every putt is a putt to run. Every putt is a putt to make. It doesn't help when the camera falls over. It is a little breezy out here, but didn't think it would affect it that much. So anyway, now that we're duly distracted, let's give this a solid run. We did it. Actually concentrate on what we want to do, follow through, center. It was a great putt. I'm happy. So after carding that birdie, we are 1 under through 8. We're now on hole 9, 315 feet, pretty much dead center. This is a fun hole just because easy gap, but going through the trees is fun. Does not play 315, plays maybe 260 because it's so downhill. So again, I throw the berg, try to keep it flat and a little right of the basket so it finishes. See how it goes. Too high and not right enough. Bad tree kick. Circle 2. So short circle 2. Again, about 38 to 40 feet probably. Want to get this birdie. Not getting close on here is pretty frustrating. So straight back, straight forward. Give it a little loft. Aiming for the band. Nailed it. That's why we aim high, so that when we feel like we miss, it still has a chance to go in. If we aim center and we miss low, no chance. But aiming for the band worked out. So saved our birdie. That's not really a thing, but I consider it that because of the bad tee shot. So happy with that putt. Hole 10, 295 feet. Basket is a little bit up to the right. You can see it through this gap, but we do have a Mando, so we got to stay left. Don't want to hit any of the walkers on the side and try to do a hyzer. So we go clean through. The one you see up there is hole 8. We already played that, so we're not going for that one. We're going a little bit right. I'm going to throw my quake because I am going to get over on this a little bit, but I don't want it to just sail right. I want it to finish. So giving this a little high ante, hoping to land kind of near the dirt and skitter up. So see what happens. Too low. Let's see, perfect release. It's exactly the flight I wanted. That actually worked out. Because we hit the dirt and we wanted it to slide, it's exactly what it did, about 20 feet. So maybe a little closer to 25 feet, but still a good result considering how it felt out of my hand. It's nice that we executed, hit the dirt, slid up a little bit, breathing a little hard because that is a hill. Got some nature in the background. Let's see if we can keep the same thing going. And it's a little uphill from where I am, so I want to aim a little higher, probably aiming just below, like the chain link, right below the end of a sign, dead center. Here we go. Dead center, can't ask for more than that. Couple birdies in a row, feeling good. Walking down to hole 11, there is a gentleman sitting at the bench. Not sure if he's going to move, so I'm just going to tell you right now, hole 11, pretty high uphill shot. I don't remember the distance. We're not going to bother with recording the tee shot. We're just going to get in and out of there as quickly as possible. I'll let you know that I am going to throw the vanish on that shot just to get an easy left to right movement to get up on top of the hill, and then I'll show you where I ended up. Got almost the exact flight I wanted out of that. Released it pretty straight and flat up, and the vanish gets moving right pretty well. It did fade out a little bit at the end, so I'm not super bummed I didn't get it on video, but I should still be edge of circle maybe another 38 to 40 footer. I'm pretty happy with it. This isn't a hole I expect a birdie, so getting a good look is all I want. I think we got it. Yeah, so we're looking at edge of circle again, maybe 35 feet again. I'm really working on that part of my game today apparently, but that's good. This is the putting practice I'm going to need. Competitive play, you don't just have a lot of 10, 15 footers. You usually have to make a lot of these. So same idea. Even though it's flat, I've been doing good aiming high. So we're going to aim for the A. So we're the A after MIR. There's a lot of A's up there. Aim for that one, so it's a little high, a little right. We got some wind, so still just aiming straight for that. Well, it's nice to know that I hit what I aimed for. That probably had to do a little bit with the wind and that we were on flat ground, but it's a good putt. I'm happy with it. So I was going to do a whole front nine, back nine thing, but I got pretty distracted letting that one guy play through. And there's another guy maybe about one hole behind. So this is probably just going to be one whole video. And that's okay. Hopefully it's not too long. Thanks for sticking around. All right, hole 12, 410 feet. We're just going straight down the middle here. You can see kind of the bushy trees in the middle. It's long and left of that. So we're actually aiming to end up a little bit right of those as we go down the hill so that it finishes hard left. That's where I've had the most success, is being right and finishing left instead of going straight at those trees. Very easy to pull it into the trees hanging over 11's basket over here. Very easy to early release and be on top of the hill, which creates a really tough downhill throw. So we're just going to try to give this a good solid throw, a little bit of a headwind, so that might help us get some right movement. So I did pull it a lot. I missed the first tree, but hit a very large tree down there. Hopefully we didn't hit anybody. There is a walk path right there. Have been known to go into the water when you yank it that far right because it comes up pretty quick. Hopefully none of that happened, but that's why we threw Halo Thunderbird, because it's replaceable. And I know myself, and that's easy to misthrow. So we'll see where we're at. For the record, you should not have the mindset of I'm throwing this disc only because it's a disc that I can afford to lose. That's not a mindset you want to have going into a throw. You want to go into a throw assuming you're going to execute every shot. And actually, most of the discs in my bag are discs that I would prefer to not lose. It just so happens that that Halo Thunderbird is a disc I like a lot, but it is replaceable, but it does what I want most of the time. And I have a Buzz that's pretty replaceable. But besides that, most of the stuff in my bag is stuff that I like and that I want to keep. So most of my throws are with discs that I don't want to lose. So just in case you think that mindset is something I have in general, not usually. Go into every throw confident, throw the disc because it's the right disc for the throw, not because you're okay with losing it. Hitting the tree did help us out quite a bit. We're pretty far, maybe about 80 feet. Definitely not running it with a putt. I don't want to come in on an angle and roll away. Roll away potential is pretty high. So instead, I'm going to forehand approach with my P2, and I'm going to throw it flat to the left and hope that it just matches the hill angle when it hits so that it doesn't slide anywhere and just stays near the basket. And we'll say we executed that pretty darn well. Love that disc. Hole 13, probably 300 feet. Definitely my least favorite hole on this course, and probably between both courses, for two reasons. A, the hill to climb from 12's basket really gets you out of breath up here, so I'm still recovering from that. B, a lot can go wrong. There's a double mando, so you got to hit this gap. There's a tree right in the middle of the double mando gap, so that's annoying. Any of these trees can kick you left OB into the street or right OB down the hill into a really tough spot to recover from, or C, do something really weird and fly off into the water. I've lost more discs on this hole than any of the other holes combined probably, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. So I am just going to throw the Vanish on a nice little easy backhand, trying to hit this gap. Hopefully it flips a little bit and goes straight. I'm only looking to just settle down in the shade down there at the base of the hill. I'm not trying to birdie this hole. Let's go. And I threw it so soft that it just had no chance of moving. And because it's so downhill, I don't think you can see on the camera, I am on someone's porch. So that's fun. Missed Mando, go to the drop zone, try to say bogey from there. All right, we're at the drop zone. You can kind of see the basket. There's like a gap through the trees right here. So I am just trying to throw the Toro on forehand, missing this middle tree just left with some good angle to get some kick over, hopefully get to about 10 feet. Again, focusing on my nose angle, that it's down, so we're not flying up into the air, and that we're on hyzer, so we get some nice left to right movement. And I threw the right angle, missed my line. But the same thing happened, so that tells you where it ended up, and ended up 15 feet short right. If I hit my line, I'm exactly where I want to be. Almost hit a bird, but we'll take the easy bogey save. Making my way to go pick up the Vanish from this front yard. When I tell you that is the furthest I have ever thrown a disc with that little amount of power, like that combination of distance plus power, it's wild. I didn't throw that at all, and I hope it came across that way in the video. And it just, because it was downhill, flipped up to flat, carried all the way down the hill, got a huge skip off the street. I threw it 380 feet at like 12% power. So it's a good disc. It gets good flight. I just hate that gap. Tell you what, that was a beautiful lawn, and I hate that I had to just go walking all over it just to grab my disc. Really, really expecting a Clint Eastwood get off my lawn moment, but thankful that didn't happen. I have to assume these houses get this on their lawns all the time and are used to it, but probably not fun to have a 6'7" dude just like walking up to your window at any given moment. Okay, so I know I said easy bogey, and for 99% of people this would be, but this is historically a putt that I'm terrible at, because you should make it 100% of the time. That adds to the pressure of actually making it and makes it that much worse. So we're gonna focus. I'm aiming center, dead center everything. I'm just hoping that if I'm off, that something will catch. But the confidence factor of I'm expecting to make this putt, and based on how I'm putting today, that's been working out. So here we go. We did it. It's a little low, but that is to be accounted for where I aimed, and I'm okay with that. It went in, it was straight. It's what I want. Hole 14, 365 feet, but this is actually the longest hole that we have to throw out here because it is very uphill. You should be able to see it up left in front of that tall tree in the background. So I am throwing a Wraith, which is going to get a pretty good flip up and hopefully push forward quite a bit. And we're just throwing hard on hyzer at the basket, getting a little height so that it carries, but not too much height so that it stalls. Here we go. And we completely yanked it over. A little bit of a cut roll to get us back center, but that was thrown entirely too hard. So we are going to switch that up and throw our Sakibot Destroyer. And if we throw it on the same angle, that should work out. But I'm trying to get some hyzer. It's really annoying that I was trying to throw hyzer and just completely pulled it over onto an anhyzer angle. Something to work on. And that's why we throw on hyzer angle, because I threw it really good and hard, it flipped up, and we aren't quite pin high, but we're in the circle, and that's exactly what we want. So we're outside circle 2, probably close to 75 feet. I could give it a run with the P2 forehand like I have done in the past, but I really want to get good at these step putts, and so this is a good distance to be working on that. It's pretty high. The elevation change is significant, so I'm really going to have to get some behind it and hope that doing that doesn't mean that I yank it over. So we're going to try to get a pretty good straight flight aimed kind of at the tree so that it dives into the basket. I went high, I went right, went in the basket. Man, sometimes things work out. This is making me think that no matter what I'm doing, I should just talk through my throw every single time, because that's really helping me execute, particularly on my putts. If you're watching this as a friend of mine who's played with me, you know that my putting is not like this, and you're definitely thinking these are all second takes or whatever. I promise you, everything has been a first take, and this is the best putting day I've had in a long time, which can be attributed to the practice I've been doing a little bit more recently in the backyard, but also I think more to just thinking through my putt as I'm doing them right now. So pretty happy with that result. All right, hole 15, 335 feet. You can see the basket down there past the trees. It's really just a simple hyzer up around them, trying to just dive bomb near the basket. So I'm throwing my signed captain's raptor, just aiming out right and hoping it finishes in a good spot. That was awful. we're gonna attribute that to me sitting down for like 15 minutes to let a couple guys walk by. So this time we're gonna go the freaky zone again, get a little oomph behind it, and hopefully do much better than that. That was way wider. That's what we want. If I'd have done that with the captain's after, we'd been in a good spot. Still in a pretty good spot. Up in high, 25 feet or so. We don't mind being in the shade. So we're at approach distance. Got a fair amount of wind, but we're downhill. So we're going Toro again, and I really got to make sure that I keep my angle because it's very easy downhill for it to turn over and with the wind. So I'm aiming kind of at the edge of these vine-covered pillars on the house over there, kind of the left side of that, and just trying to come down on pretty good hyzer. So make that work. Oh, missed it short right. Got a very good bounce. Throwing hard, worked out that time. Hole 16, 375 feet, plays a little longer because it is uphill. I shockingly haven't thrown my C-Line FD yet today, so we're gonna go with that because it tends to be one of my better flyers and holds its stability pretty well. So I'm aiming basically straight at the basket. If I throw it hard, it'll turn a little bit. I wanna get some height because we want to crash into the hill with some upward momentum. We don't want it to hit up and then like roll down the hill. So if we get a good connection with the hill and get it to kind of circle through on the ground, that tends to work out. So that's what we're going for. I did it. It's a little short, maybe. Nope, that's exactly what we want. Right at the basket, carried a little right, faded, hit the hill. I would have preferred it hit a little bit higher because it rolled down a little bit, but it's like a 12-foot putt. Gotta like that. This is a significant hill, but this putt's close enough that it shouldn't matter. It's actually pretty much chest high, so we're just gonna finish it out easily. We're gonna focus so we don't do something stupid like miss a short putt. Dead center, we like that birdie. That tends to be kind of tough, but I'm really glad I executed and really happy with this disc. This, like I said, has been one of my best throwers recently, so I'm pretty excited about it. All right, we updated the scorecard. We're sitting at 3 under. That's not great for a lot of people that play out here regularly. For me, that's doing really well, especially considering I double bogeyed hole 2. So living the high life right now. We're on hole 17, 378 feet. You never know what happens around here at the park. We just had a biker cruise on through. That was pretty cool. So like I said, 378 feet. We're going with the FD again, aiming out right, flat, so it gets a little movement to the left, and hope we don't throw it in the water. Well, I definitely threw it flat right, and that's how you throw stuff in the water. Don't hit that. Oh, that was a pretty good line. It was a little more right than I wanted, but it was moving pretty hard left. Probably would have been in the circle, but now we got some distance. I'm gonna throw another one just for fun, but that was very close to being pretty good, which is fine. And that was 2 straight through a volt. Ripped it pretty good though. We get over the hill, we like that. Pretty high up on the hill. Thought about doing the forehand, decided might as well get some more step putt practice in. This is probably around that same distance, 75 to 80 feet. So aiming for a few of the same things. The problem here is there is this hill that I mentioned. And so if we come in on that angle, then that's rollaway potential. So instead of going high right this time, I'm gonna go with some Annie to the left and try to carry it over across left to right. That way, if I miss and it lands, it's gonna land a lot flatter on the ground instead of coming in at that sharp angle. And that was just atrocious. So far left, we're gonna try that again and actually follow through on our putt, because following through is super important. I was aimed a little too far left also. So I want to follow through and actually come across and get some left to right movement. That was a lot better. A lot better. Actually got some flight, but you can see how both of them, when they landed pretty even with the hill, no roll away there. Got to make a good downhill putt though to get this par. Like that we executed better on the second shot, but would have liked to have done that on the first one. All right, so we do have this downhill putt. The key here is aiming low. Because we're so high above it, I'm only aiming like 2 or 3, we'll go 3 chain links above the cage, because even as I push out, I can feel how high I am. So I want to just finish straight down at the basket. There's also a pretty big receiving area down that isn't true when you are even or below the basket. So all of that comes into play. We just don't want to be too high. I was a little high, but we hit the good part of the chains and it caught. And we take that par and move on to hole 18, 3 down. All right, last hole, hole 18. We're uphill. Probably can't see the basket, but if you can see the light pole, pretty much in line with that, kind of right where the geese are. So I'm going to try to do what I did on hole 10 with the quake, get it on some Annie, so it's moving a little bit left to right, but that it's going to finish. It's really easy for me to throw this flat and have it hyzer out early, or to come over the top with like a buzz and have it carry all the way right. So I'm wanting that same idea to finish on Annie, to throw it on Annie so that it finishes flat and gets up to the basket. And I threw it too low. That's the line I want. It's the angle I want. You throw it 10 feet higher. We're just going to finish simply out here. This won't be a jump putt. This won't be a run. This will just be a normal, easy Toro approach, because we want to be able to execute these. Because in a competitive setting, this one stroke can make or break you. If we run it and now we have a long par putt, then it's really easy to bogey, and it's really easy for me to chunk this or do something weird. So I'm aiming for that spot on the fence and just kind of a nice solid flick so that it dies over to the basket. We tap our par and finish a good round. Threw it too high, so now we have a dumb, difficult par putt, testing ourselves. That was atrocious. That's why we keep it flat, and I just came under and just did the ultimate thing, finished up in the air. All right, so we're about 25, 28 feet, and this is one of those putts that you got to step up and drain if you're going to be competitive. Obviously, there's no pressure really because I'm by myself, but you know, if you think about the pressure of the camera and the very small number of you who are watching, this is an important putt to complete. So I am going to aim a little higher than normal, so I don't have to feel like I have to power through it. I want a nice, clean, easy release. So if I aim about 3 links below center, we should be good. And if I'd actually followed through to that point, it would have been totally fine. But I followed through low, so we missed low. Finished with a disappointing bogey, but overall we're pretty happy with the round. Thanks for making it this far. We'll see if there's more content to create. See how weird I keep feeling being out here by myself doing this. Hopefully we get some more people on to partner with it. And I'm in the process of creating a separate channel and hopefully creating a little bit more stuff for that. Just for fun, but this was a fun round. Hopefully you had fun watching. See you later.